I've been asked many times to give some suggestions on storytelling. You know, I'm not an expert in storytelling, I just love storytelling. And I think this is perhaps the very first thing that we need to acquire, is the love for telling a story. As soon as your heart is in the story will, of course, come to life. But a few practical tips may come along. And the first one is read slow. You should not go fast. Even when you're getting excited telling the story, as sometimes I am getting so excited with these stories, we tend to go faster and faster and faster. No, just hold your horses and make certain you tell the story as slow as possible. And it means also that you take a good pause between two sentences. Even within a sentence, you could take some time after the comma. Take time, leave space, because every time you leave a short space with your words that are spoken, the mind of the child is on fire. And so keep in mind, going slow and building in some spaces of silence, that actually creates much more space for the child's creativity to really explode. Second point that is important is do change your voice. Do make an effort that if there are two characters, try to discover within yourself two voices. I mean, this is not about being bipolar, and this is nothing to do about schizophrenia. This is just about discovering your capacity to live into two different characters. And it's not always easy, and you may get confused about it, but it is something that wakes up the child. You know, when another voice comes, I am more in favor of one person speaking two voices than two persons working together with two voices. I think it is very helpful that the child gets exposed to these intonations and these shifting capacities to impersonate another character. Third one is that quite often we like to make some noises that are not regular words. The bear is growling. You know, we like to have these sounds that are not human sounds. Again, that expands the horizon of the child listening to the fable, that this is not a human voice only, this is really an entrance into the world of nature. So don't mind making some strange noises, and if you think it's a surprising voice or it doesn't sound like a bear, don't worry about it. Just make certain that whenever you feel comfortable, put in a sound that is strange for everyone. A fourth point is your intonation. Don't always talk about the same level. Make certain you go up and down. So you change the speeds, but you will also go up and down in your voice. You have to really sense the question, you know, because when you're speaking, the question has to be there. And when someone is upset or is reacting directly, make certain that intonation, that higher pitch comes out of there. And this is a very important element, because it pushes children to actually navigate in their brain their emotional intelligences as well. Because as you're able with intonation to bring in a good doses of personality, of character, of feelings, that will also wake up in the child those emotions. And a final point is that keep in mind what is the beginning and what is the end. When you're telling a story, kind of like the second last page or the second last phrase, you're already preparing for the end. And this is something that a child is carried through a story and is kind of hungry to always know more and more, but you have to announce there is an end coming. And when the end is coming, the mindset of the child is coming to a conclusion. And as you know, my fables, they don't stop by saying, and they happily married and had many children ever after. That is not what this is all about. We need to have this ending build up, because the very last phrase I would like you always to say is, and it only has just begun. The children need to have this rush towards the end, this real sense that there is a conclusion coming, but when they get to the conclusion, then your voice is bringing this very important message saying, and it only has just begun. That will kick off in the brain of the child a degree of enormous freedom, because it allows them to think whatever that comes through their minds, and that we need to nurture. So keep in mind, getting the fable started, everyone knows this is at the beginning, but coming to the end of the fable, make certain your voice, your approach, your intensity is announcing that there is coming to an end, which is the beginning of everything else. Thank you.